Coffee all down my face. Hey there, Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Welcome to day 1476 of What You Up To Now. I guess you don't have to be able to drink in order to make a Facebook Live video or a podcast or anything. So, let's try that again. Another sip of coffee to get me talking. Welcome to day 1476 of What You Up To Now, documenting the journey as I and we, if you're listening to me, you're probably transitioning and doing some of this as well, transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business or the job market to the online world. In 2017, I had the opportunity to, following my divorce and disposition of all our joint assets, decide what the heck I wanted to do with my life. And I could have retired, but I was like, all right, I am old enough to retire, but I don't really want to. I got quite a bit of energy still, a little ants in my pants, and so I want to keep moving forward. Excuse me, and learn something new. I've always been curious about the internet and the online world. Didn't do hardly anything with it in my corporate career or in my offline world. I left corporate America in 2003 or 4 once and for all. Otherwise, prior to that, I'd spent over a quarter century simultaneously working in corporate America and then running and operating and starting and doing different types of businesses on the side for in 27 different businesses. So I've been personally involved in 27 different businesses and industries. Now that was all offline. Online, I've literally been involved in thousands of different businesses and industries, depending on how you define industries, right? Whether it's the manufacturing codes or whatever you use, the Thomas's, whatever, or the tax delineations, all different ways to categorize things. So today, in our annual challenge, we talked about our core emotional values. We are, in the annual challenge, we're doing one thing every day that improves us. And for this segment, we're focusing on our emotional well-being. So we just finished the SOAP framework last week, going through the SOAP framework with respect to emotions. And then we talked about today core values. What are our core emotional values? And I shared a process for finding those core values, figuring out what they are for you. If you've never done that, a lot of people have never said, what's most important to me emotionally, physically, mentally, etc. Most people have never ever done that exercise, believe it or not. Sometimes we think that everybody in the world has had the same experiences as us. I don't know if it's ego that lets us think that or believe that, but we know on a intellectual level that everybody is different, but we forget about it as we're living our life and experiencing our life. So I like doing the challenge, the annual challenge every year, to focus on something that I know I need to improve or I really want to improve in my life. And this one's all about just single daily action to improve us. And instead of it just being one thing, I decided we would go through the life framework that I've learned and used for decades now to kind of make sense of my life. So today, ants in your pants was our idiom for supersize your business. I just shared 3 or 4, and actually 5 or 6 by the time I got done talking, ways that expression, ants in our pants, ants in your pants, ants in one's pants, antsy, could be used to impact your growing your business, how you grow your business, how you go about growing your business, things that we do in our business, different things to consider as you're building and growing and supersizing your business. And I just remembered now, I didn't even talk about COVID and the impact that that's had on us and what we focus on in our business, whether it's the challenges and the problems associated with COVID or the opportunities that have been presented to the world because of this crazy, mixed up, convoluted way this pandemic has been handled by us and by everybody. It's up to us to handle it on a personal and our own business or career level, and the rest of the world, that's how we should all be doing it. We should all be thinking for ourselves and figuring out, what do I need to do in this set of circumstances to have the best outcome and the best impact on the world? But everybody isn't thinking that way, unfortunately. So ants in your pants, core values. I also shared an old NLP strategy and tool for taking emotions and things that we almost never want to feel and redefining them by using the connector and creating all kinds of impossible situations and adding a time limit to them so that there's no way it can happen. So if I say, I don't want to feel fear anymore, I'm going to say, this has to happen, and this has to happen, and this has to happen all the time, or for a period of 90 days, or nobody can help me, nobody can make me feel better or say anything kind to me for an entire week. Well, as soon as somebody says something kind to me, or as soon as somebody helps me with anything, you know, even if they hand me something or open the door for me, then I'm not afraid, because that negates my definition of what it takes for me to feel fear. So I talked a little bit about the and connector. Yesterday we talked about the or connector, and how we get more of the emotions we want to have in our life by giving ourselves all kinds of ways to experience what we want. So if you want to feel more success, I can feel successful when this or 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 this happen. So I might feel successful 20 times a day instead of only feeling successful once every 5 years or 10 years or 25 years when something outrageously awesome happens. Or if I have a definition of success that's absolutely positively impossible for me to ever achieve. I'll feel successful when I've created $1 billion business and I have a million raving fans that are out promoting me for free, whatever. You know, we create these crazy definitions in our head, and then we wonder why we don't feel the things we want to feel more often. We do it with all of our emotions in positive and negative ways. So the and the or are NLP strategies to make it easy to feel the things we want to feel, and almost impossible, really difficult to feel the things we don't want to feel. I've used it on, not as often have I used it on the positive emotions. I'm finding I need to do more of that, but I've used it a lot on eliminating or restricting my experience of negative emotions, such as fear, comfort zone, depression. It's like impossible for me to ever experience depression nowadays. And I did that in my 20s, and that's when I first discovered this tool, because I was bedridden for 3 years in chronic pain with chronic illnesses that nobody could figure out. None of the doctors, none of the experts could figure out what was going on. And I reached a point, a very dark point, where, and I never talk about it, but a really bad spot where it was like, is this really my life? Is this going to be my life? Living in a dark room 99% of the time all by myself. And I didn't like the prospect of that moving forward. And that's when I started searching for ways to get out of that funk, because nobody was going to get me out of that. The doctors weren't going to. They just kept giving me drugs. My family and friends nobody could do it for me. I had to do it for me. So, ants in your pants. Love to know if you've used this expression, if anyone's ever told you you have ants in your pants, or if you've ever told anyone they've had ants in your pants. If you've got kids or grandchildren, chances are you've thought, oh my God, what is in these kids? My dad used to say, who put a quarter in you? We used to have a car wash, so we talked about a lot of quarter things. All right, if I can help you anyway, ask. Otherwise, I'm hanging out with my amazing 1-year-old granddaughter today, who definitely has ants in her little walking pants, and so I will get to run around and chase her all day. Helps me with my Fitbit numbers, so I'm all for it. Have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.